we want to dive into money, I was helping a woman that she was in her 60s actually, and her money block was genetic. So she actually went genealogical, like generations ago, and she could picture, she had a vision of a farm. And like several generations ago, the farm had a drought. And she actually was affected by that many generations, that her family wasn't very wealthy. Ever since then, they had certain beliefs that were tied around that. So once I helped her release that block, and abundance and the drought was over and things were flowing again, all of a sudden she started making tons of money.
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan, speaker, best-selling author, serial entrepreneur, and we talk all things money and business. Today's episode is sponsored by freemoneytipsbook.com. freemoneytipsbook.com. Head over there, download your free ebook, 7 Unshakable Tips to get you started on your finance journey. Today's episode, I get to interview Camilla Peterson. And we're going to talk about NLP and how you might be having a block, not only in your business life, but how you can apply NLP in your sex life as well. Check out this episode. Hi, Camilla. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Angela.
It's so nice to meet you. I would love for you to start off and talk a little bit about your story, your journey, and how you got to the business that you're doing today.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So about, 7 years ago, I had a dental lab in my basement and a dental tech school on the side. And we had it for about 9 years, and we got stuck and plateaued, just like the same cycle over and over. And I just got so frustrated. And that's when we met this guy that he called himself a human programmer. It was kind of funny, but he knew NLP, and I just knew it was something I had to do. So I hired him, and during the session, I had a transcendental experience, and it like unlocked something inside myself that for the first time to my core, I felt worthy of success. And 2 days later, I knew how to make my money back. 2 months later, quadrupled my income. We went really big with our dental tech school. And I don't know, I just became a master practitioner. It kind of took my life in a totally different place. And it's really interesting because as I became a trainer and I shifted into the space of training people and helping them transform, um, as I got trained, it taught me a lot about my trauma. And I had a lot of sexual trauma growing up. And I realized that um, I had like blocks in my sexual pleasure spots. And my trainer would always talk about how money and business and sex are all interconnected. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, how is that, And we talk about chakras, but I still didn't really understand it. And I wasn't having the greatest sex with my husband at that time. And so anyway, it was like over time, I started unlocking things within myself. And then as I trained people, they would, in my master practitioner training, by the end, people wanted to know about using NLP for sex. They had gotten rid of so much trauma and unlocked their business that now they wanted to like really dive into that. So for a couple of years now, I've been like, man, I really need to pivot and do that. But I had already built my business so big. I've helped over 100 people unlock their business and their money blocks and things like that. And I was kind of scared, to be honest, because I'm
Mhm.
like, it's taboo. How do I even go about it or anything? And this last year, I was finally like, fuck it, let's just do it. And wow, it's been just really amazing so far. So, yeah, now I help people transcend their sensuality and have the desire for sex and have much more fulfilling pleasures in all areas of their life. So, yeah, it's been really amazing.
That's amazing. So let's back up for a minute. For the audience that may not understand or know or have even heard of the term NLP, what does that mean?
So it's neuro-linguistic programming. So basically it's how the language of your mind is programmed and how you can reprogram it to success. So if you find yourself in like really negative states or having negative emotions, beliefs that limit you, we can actually reprogram pretty much anything. I've worked with a lot of severe cases of trauma and pretty much like really difficult stuff. And I'm like, man, if I can help them do that, anything can be done. So
Yeah.
yeah, we picture things, we hear certain sounds for different things. And if you have a negative internal representation of something, it can be reprogrammed to get you better results and up level you in your business or any area of life. So
Yeah. And I think oftentimes people don't realize that they may have a block, right?
yeah, because it's unconscious. Like, how do you get something that's unconscious that you're so unaware of to be conscious and then change it or transform it? And that's the trick. So a lot of people come and they're like, I don't even know what it is. And I'm like, well, perfect. You're in the perfect place because that's my expertise. So
And do you
yeah.
find that when you go through this process with a client, say they unlock something, right? They have that first transformation. Do you see that people will come back to you with like multiple blocks, or how does that work with your clients?
Great question. Yeah, I usually have like a training and then I do breakthroughs after that. And then I have like higher level training. So usually a high percentage of them roll into my larger trainings and go all the way. It just really depends on the need of the client. Um, but usually I'm not like some therapist that has you coming back and back and back. I actually want to help you solve the actual problem. So if your actual problem is solved, then there's really no need to keep coming back. So
Yeah. And I could see that too, because if you think about like modern medicine, right? It's meant to treat a symptom. And so that's why you have to
yes,
continue to take that medication. Whereas what you're saying and what you're doing is let's not treat that symptom, but figure out what's the cause behind that so we can
yes,
break through that. And then you don't have to continue on therapy and therapy because you've gotten to that root.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna take off the Band-Aid so the wound can heal and actually like really heal it. So like all wounds, they heal. If they're not healing, like what the hell is going on? It's likely because you're taking some pill or something to cause it to continue to grow or to continue to go on. Depression is just severe sadness being suppressed. It is not a lifelong sentence. No label doctors give is a lifelong sentence. And
Mm.
I'm serious. Like I've seen even chronic pain that people have had for decades get rid of it in 20 minutes. I've seen crazy shit going on in my training. Like it's insane. But they're ready to give up their problem. They're ready to level up and they have an exchange going on. So yeah, I've helped a lot of people overcome addiction, like within a 10-minute NLP exercise. Like NLP is amazing. So many things can be done within the mind.
Yeah. So walk us through kind of a glimpse of what you do when you start your session with somebody.
Well, a session, if I'm going to do a one-on-one session, I usually teach people about how their mind works. So usually I need you to know if the future is in the what if you were to know the future, okay, this is going to seem weird. But if you knew where the future was, where would you point?
Hmm. Yeah.
So go ahead and point. Where is the future for you?
I would probably point forward
Okay, and where's the past?
in the back.
Okay, so the front and the back, you can imagine your timeline. All your memories in the future and the past are lined up along that timeline. And then I can kind of do some exercises to take them to a really happy place and show them. Um, and then we actually go find the root cause of where their problem is actually coming from. And within 5-10 minutes, they let go of the limiting belief or negative emotion, whatever it is. And then we test to make sure it's gone. Um, it's it's pretty amazing. And a lot of people have transcendental experiences. Um, they get rid of the block that they had going on, and it's pretty mind blowing. And
Yeah.
it's so simple, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you find that sometimes people have memories maybe they've suppressed or don't know about when you're going through this process?
Oh yeah, like if we want to dive into money, I was helping a woman that she was in her 60s actually, and her money block was genetic. So she actually went genealogical, like generations ago, and she could picture, she had a vision of a farm, and like several generations ago, the farm had a drought, and she actually was affected by that many generations, that they just, her family wasn't very wealthy ever since then. They had certain beliefs that were tied around that. So once I helped her release that block, and abundance and the drought was over and things were flowing again, all of a sudden she started making tons of money. It was wild. So there's different things. It's not always the same. It's never the same, in fact, I should say, for everybody. But they get what they need when they come to me. So,
Hmm, very interesting. So where do you see yourself going in the future with your business?
well, I just pivoted into helping people transcend their sensuality. So, helping people with like the blocks in their body, because we can actually negatively anchor negative emotions on our body. So, couples, maybe there's one desiring sex more than another. And what I find is a lot of them have had children. Um, so, they also, time gets in the way, and the wife is usually exhausted, so she starts making excuses and this and that, and then their relationship kind of gets put on the back burner. um but like when our bodies go through things and the chemicals change in our body with even having children, we need to actually reprogram and rewire our body, and
Mhm.
places that need like more powerful feelings. So if you're not at least an 8 with sensitivity of how easy you can get turned on, definitely there's a lot that you can do to
Mhm.
actually up it to a 10.
And without modern medicine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people will get on testosterone, but really it's all in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. So, and then, if you're in a long-term relationship, there's a lot of history there. Shit happens. And
Hmm.
if there's a lot of stuff that you've like suppressed in your relationship, and you don't feel like you can even communicate, there's a lot going on that actually needs to be dealt with. And it doesn't need to be rehashed either, which is what a lot of people think. Um, you just need to get rid of blocks and negative emotions, the baggage that you hold on to, and it just gets more and more baggage, just needs to be cleared out.
Yeah, love that too. So did you end up selling your practice then when you went full into doing NLP?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
is your
And
husband part of this journey with you too?
I recently actually got divorced.
Oh,
So,
I
yep,
understand.
we
Yeah.
kind of went two different ways, wanted different things in our life, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened with me. I feel so liberated. So,
Yeah, and you've already
yeah.
released your own blockage, so it's like you're transcending into like a whole new you and a version of you. So
Yes.
I can imagine that's pretty amazing to watch that transformation with seeing somebody go through that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just pulled out a picture of 6 years ago at the beginning of my NLP journey, and it's, like, starkly different. I'm like, "Wow." I'm so glad I was brave enough to just go for it because it is different. It's a different mindset, and actually believing in yourself and becoming your true self without all the baggage and shit that, we grew up with from childhood. So, yeah, when you find your true self, you find out who your true people are too.
Yeah. And is
Um,
this session that you have to do in person, or is it now with the advance of technology and Zoom and everything, are you able to do it virtually as well?
oh yeah, I do virtual. I train people virtually all the time. I used to do a lot of in person before COVID, and it's mostly gone online now.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, I have a fun question for you. If,
Okay.
if you could have a superpower or a super talent, what would it be and why?
I think it would be really rad to be a mind. Oh, shoot. It left me. A mesmerism. Shoot. Not a magician. It's when they do some mind tricks or something, which I sort of do as a trainer with NLP, but not at the level as I'm gonna have to remember what it's called. Dang it.
That's okay. So, essentially, helping change and form the mind.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's I could see because that's kind of what you help do with people. You help unlock that.
Yeah, I do. And it's so fascinating and so fulfilling to see people go from, like, you even see how the face changes and shifts and becomes lighter and peaker, and oh my gosh, it's so amazing, and they have light in their eyes by the end, and it is just so transformative. So yeah, that I just love it.
Awesome. Camilla, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, learn more about what you do, or perhaps hire you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, if you just go to transcendwithcamilla.com, right there at the top, you can um, watch well, right now you can register for my webinar or my masterclass that I have going on, or if there's the replay button, you can do that. And then for women that don't have desire for sex, there's like a connection journal if they struggle reconnecting with their partner. You can just go on there and download the journal for free.
Oh, awesome. I love
And
freebies.
yeah, yeah, it leads to a book call or my new program coming out. So
Awesome. Well, I truly appreciate your time today, Camilla, and I hope that our audience reach out to you. Having blockage, mindset, I know is a huge thing when it comes to money. It's a lot of what I talk about too, but NLP is definitely a way for people to get past that and hopefully have the abundance that they deserve.
yes, exactly. Thank you, Angela. It's such a
Thank
pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.